It is the day of reckoning for America. You look at America and what's going on right now, you know what I'm saying? The state of affairs with the United States and how it is isolating itself from the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to add a little politics to the video now. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it geopolitically. Like I said in the last one, you needed somebody a little bit more diplomatic. And they told me in 24 hours we're going to see, or this week we would see Donald Trump go to the United Nations and make a speech. I said, this is going to be for the ages right here. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't let us down yet, has he?
Today I stand before the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
And it was a blast. And I just read a report. I wish I can read it to y'all while I'm looking at this right now, but I'm using the phone at the same time. I got to use what I got. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate all the love, everybody out there showing love and support and feedback to the videos that I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because I know I wish I had somebody right there to put the pieces of the puzzle together for me when I was trying to find the truth. So basically what I want to do is make the Bible real for these people. When I make a video, I'm trying to make the Bible apply to your life as is, rather than you reading the Bible as, oh, it's just a cool stories, and Jesus was a cool character in this book, in this fantasy fairy tale Hades, and the devil's underground with a pitchfork. You know what I'm saying? No, the devil says, this is what the devil said. See, if you pay for this subscription, it's $39.99. But by the time you get everything installed, get the remote control, get everything, get the satellite and all, you're not going to pay $39.99. What you're going to pay is $200.99. You know what I'm saying? $200.99 now. 1 month you're going to have 99. Then 2 months after that, it goes up to $59.99. 3 months after that, it goes up to $79.99. That's what the devil does. Says one thing and does 15 others, like Assad told you. You know what I'm saying? Like the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, told you.
American policy based on many standards, not double. They have maybe 10 standards, because they don't base their policy on values or on international law. They base it on their own vision, their own interests, on sometimes the balance of different lobbies and powers within the American institutions. We all know that. So we don't talk about double standards. This is very normal for the US.
And let's talk about many standards. But today we just seen Donald Trump go to the UN, and it's beautiful. I believe and I know that Donald Trump is the president that America deserves, and he's the president that you absolutely needed at this time, because he is the one that represents Edomites to the fullest. He represents the so-called white man to the fullest. He's never had to cater to anybody. He's never had to be diplomatic in his life. Everything, my dad only left me $1 million. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of person he is. Dennis the Menace with millions of dollars. Okay? And what we're seeing now is, I just read a report that said Donald Trump gets laughed at the UN. They're laughing at America. You know what I'm saying? He said that I've done better than, in my 2 years, I've done better than any other president ever. And the whole United Nations, Africa, China, Russia, Indonesia, everybody's here. Iran, they all there. But what did they do? You know what I'm saying? Laugh at this nigga. Oh, didn't respect that. But you know what? That's what it is. That's how they look at the world. That's how the world sees you.
Bitches! bitches! All white men! That bitches! They must die! That bitches! Shoot us,
You see that? As you can see, the Hamites, which are the Africans, you see them, man, they pissed off at this white man, right?
Did you open the door for these American troops?
No, we didn't. Any foreign troops coming to Syria without our invitation or consultation or permission, they are invaders.
Fight none of you. Exactly. Get on with your bogus arguments. Get on with your bogus arguments. We're the only legal ones here.
We have Native Americans here.
It represents blood. That represents blood spilled by Native Americans protecting this land from the invaders. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You don't want to hear the goddamn truth, do you? Get on, bitch. You don't want to hear the truth. That's what that flag stands for. All the Native Americans you killed to plant your houses here. That's the truth. That's the truth.
We don't think this is going to help. Well, what are they going to do? To fight ISIS? They lost nearly everywhere. They lost in Iraq. They had to withdraw at the end. They didn't succeed anywhere they sent troops. They only create mess. They are very good in creating problems and destroying, but they are very bad in finding solutions.
In another, protesters shut down part of a major highway near the Capitol. Protests today also occurred well beyond Washington, from marches in Denver to across San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge and around the world. In London, demonstrators unfurled banners from bridges with messages for the new president, among them to build bridges, not walls. In Tokyo, hundreds of people, most of them women, marched through the night streets in protest of Mr. Trump's presidency.
Donald Trump is a perfect representation of America itself. You don't have a bunch of people talking about, this isn't a rally, nigga. This isn't a rally where everybody's got a red hat on talking about, make America great again, kill niggers, yeah! You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump can say anything at a rally. We're gonna blow South Korea up, North Korea up, and Canada. Yeah! You know, no, you are at the United Nations on a world stage. And you tell them some bullshit that they cannot believe, and they laugh in your face, as they should. It's over. The mysteria, the mystique about America being the greatest nation in the world, it's over. You can't come here and tell us that you've done better than anybody in 2 years, and we see the results of what's going on in America.
If we want to take a look at Iraq, there is at least 1 million, probably even close to 2 million dead. We invaded that country, destroyed it, created millions of orphans, millions of refugees, and never even so much as apologized for that. Let's go back to Vietnam, where we dropped 20 million bombs, more than all of World War II combined. We have destroyed so many countries. We have tortured and killed and maimed and raped around this planet. Who in the hell in their right mind would consider the United States or the West in general to be in any position to punish anybody? Never mind the obvious facts that this is a false flag attack and a long list of false flag attacks, which let's get into that, please.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has been warning for 2 weeks of a possible false flag operation by militants in Idlib using chemical weapons, a red line for the US and its allies. According to the Russian military, that possibility became clearer. Citing local residents in the town of Jizr al-Shugur, they claim camera crews on site have recorded footage of an alleged chemical attack by the Syrian government, including video of white helmets rescuers treating supposed victims. The footage, the MOD says, is to be sent to numerous channels imminently to justify a US-led military intervention. The US Department of Defense hasn't yet responded to us directly with comment on these claims, although the US has made their position clear in no uncertain terms.
Just so there's no confusion here, if the Syrian regime uses chemical weapons, we will respond very strongly.
Syrian armed forces have no chemical weapons and no plans to use them. There is no military necessity for it.
We urge the international community to support our collective efforts to end Syria's use of chemical weapons, and we remain resolved to act if the Assad regime uses chemical weapons again.
Sensible people will not use militarily useless means to draw the fire of 3 powerful countries upon themselves.
Thank you, Natasha.
So what's the story behind these chemical attacks? I mean, is it being used to sabotage the liberation of Idlib?
I think it is. Look, we've had several episodes of this. You know, the famous Red Line back in 2013 with President Obama, the 2 episodes that have happened during the Trump administration, one in actually more than 2. And the evidence that the Syrian government was responsible for any of those is slim to none. The reason to think that either it was a false flag by the terrorists that, as we saw in the piece, we know have a chemical capability, or in the case of the most recent attack in a place called Douma, that it may have been staged entirely, that there was no chemical attack at all. You notice that story has completely disappeared since the inspection teams have gone into that area. So I think there's a very substantial reason to believe there's a false flag being prepared. The Russians have given that information to the Americans with details, including that British intelligence is directly involved in preparing this attack, and it seems the State Department is just blowing it off.
This is natural for the American policy, and for the West in general, not only the Americans. White helmets are Al-Qaeda. They are Al-Qaeda members, and that's proven on the net. The same members are killing or executing or celebrating over dead bodies. At the same time, they are humanitarian heroes, and now they have Oscar, as you know. So that's to be expected by the Americans. We have to ignore all their narrative. Their own public doesn't believe their narrative anymore. They don't know the truth yet. The public opinion in the West in general, they know there's a lie, but they don't know what the truth, and that's why they have problem with the RT, for example, for that reason. Yes.
So you do think that Washington is brushing aside the chemical attacks, or do you think there's a bigger picture here?
I hope it's not worse than that. When John Bolton came out a week or 2 ago and said, now if there's another chemical attack, we're going to respond very, very harshly to that, I think a lot of people took that as an engraved memo to the terrorists to say, okay, boys, do your thing. I hope that's not what it is. I would hate to think that John Bolton is complicit in something like that, but given the way this war has gone for the last 7 years, one can never know.
Interesting. And I know President Trump and President Putin, I mean, they've had conversations regarding Syria. Do you see the 2 countries coming together this time around?
Unfortunately, no. Evidently, there was an American delegation in Damascus recently, presented some proposals regarding the evacuation of our forces that are illegally, by the way, there in Syria. They didn't get very far with that. I think that President Trump and President Putin would like to come to a meeting of the mind, but frankly, I think the Russians understand that President Trump really doesn't control this government, that people are doing what they want to do. For example, when he said he would meet President Rouhani of Iran with no preconditions, and then immediately President Pompeo lays down what the preconditions are. I just don't think he can deliver on anything from the American side.
Interesting. Well, we really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
I want to express special gratitude to the soldiers of the People's Republic of China and Mongolia.
Our duty to Russia, I'm referring now to Russian servicemen, our duty to the homeland is to be ready to defend the sovereignty, the security, and the national interests of our country.
It's a huge show of force from the modernized Russian military, boosted by increased funding and the crucial battle experience it's gained in Syria. The Chinese involvement in Russia's drills has raised particular concerns in the West. It's a sign the two Eurasian powers are overcoming historical animosities to forge a strengthening partnership.
They want to show that if the United States asserts itself in the Korean Peninsula, if they move against Iran, that they're likely to come up against a unified front between Beijing and Russia.
While an Arab separatist group is reportedly responsible for the attack, Iran's President Hassan Rouhani blamed the United States for the bloodshed.
All these little mercenary countries that we see in this region have the backing of the United States. It is the Americans who are agitating them. It is the Americans who are providing them with the required circumstances to commit such crimes.
An unarmed Russian Air Force jet flew over several key landmarks here in the Washington area at low altitude, including the Capitol, the Pentagon, CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, and Joint Base Andrews, home of Air Force One, of course. The flight was part of a long-standing treaty that allows militaries of the U.S. and Russia to observe the other from the air.
State of the Nation was provocative and threatening. Giant screens showing missiles raining down on Florida and what was billed as an invincible intercontinental cruise missile. A nuclear-powered cruise missile, which Putin claimed could travel around any obstacle. And for anti-ballistic missile systems, he claimed unstoppable. The missile shown headed toward the West Coast. No one has listened to us, Putin said. You'll listen to us now.
I want this, our nuclear arsenal, to be the biggest and the finest in the world.
You heard what Rudy Giuliani just had to say while speaking at an MEK conference this weekend. He's essentially celebrating the dire situation U.S. sanctions have brought on average Iranians. What is your reaction to that?
Well, beyond the fact that it is an exaggeration of the reality on the ground in Iran, but the fact that someone would take such pleasure in what he thinks is happening in Iran and the misery that people are confronted with based on his sources, I think it shows the state of affairs in the United States. The regime in Washington is a deeply sick regime.
Just to throw our weight around and put on these sanctions and threaten people, because we are powerful, we have a lot of wealth, and we have the reserve currency of the world, and we have the economic clout to put on sanctions, which I think is a detriment to us, and I think that we shouldn't do that. And long term, it's going to be detrimental to the United States because it's very costly and it's undermining our alliances with anybody that we want to work with, because people are getting tired of us throwing our weight around and putting on sanctions and believing that everybody has to do exactly as we say. But the position for our institute is that we ought to, come home and mind our own business and try to set a good example for the world rather than thinking that we own the world. Because many of us believe that what we're doing is trying to maintain a modern-day empire, and that requires a lot of force, and it requires a lot of lying too, to misinform people in order for the American people to go along with it. But I don't think the American people are well informed on this issue, and that's why they tolerate it. And when they finally wake up, sometimes it's a little late. So what I'm trying to do with our institute is to alert people to the danger that is involved with our foreign policy.
How will Iran work with its allies to resist these crushing sanctions in what seems to be a growing call for war?
Well, the United States has already shown that it's not as strong as it likes to believe. So the point that I'm trying to make is that the Americans the more aggressive they behave towards Iran, the more pushback there will be from Iran and its regional allies. And of course, the United States is also confronting China, Russia, even its own allies in the European Union and in North America. So Trump is isolating himself, and the United States is isolating itself. The United States is seriously miscalculating, and it is not going to benefit from this sort of aggression against Iran.
Video, you know what y'all do, demons. But like I said, this is biblical. I want to make the Bible real for you, okay? Everything that you're seeing in the news right now, in politics, you know what I'm saying? That's Bible prophecy. So you look here and it tells you, read Revelation 17 for yourself, but you're not going to understand it because you don't, you know what I'm saying, have a teacher. But I'm here for that. You know what I'm saying? And it tells you here in the 17th, 16th verse, and it says, in the 10 horns, it's talking about the beast, but the 10 horns represent the EU, which thou sawest upon the beast, which is the Edomite nations conquering the world. These shall hate the whore is America, and they shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, for God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will. You know what I'm saying? So basically, you're seeing what God willed for America. It's totally isolated itself. And now you're seeing the ending result. I'm trying to find the end part of that verse. You're seeing the ending result of that. Let's go on here in 17th verse, finish in the 17th verse. And it says, for God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And that woman that thou saw is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth, America. You know what I'm saying? What is the city that rules over everything? Well, oh, this is the greatest nation in the world. Okay, Babylon the Great. And then if you go read on in the 18th verse, it's all in order in Revelations. Not all in order, not all of it, but 17, 18, and 19 go all in order. And if you read 18, it talks about the destruction that's coming. You know what I'm saying? The destruction that is coming here. And it says, standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. It's only going to take 1 hour. It says that 3 to 4 times. And it's 1 day, 1 hour, 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to take 1 hour to destroy this place. And Vladimir Putin has already told you that I have weapons that can destroy this place within 1 hour. Okay? The ICBM, Sarmat, Satan 2, he can destroy this place within 1 hour. And now you're seeing it. The stage is set. The only thing, we've seen so many prophecies take place already. The only thing that has to happen now is World War III and the return of Jesus Christ. The return of Black Jesus and Mashiach Yahushua. And the same way that he left, he's coming back. With the chariots, the UFOs, he's coming to take 1/3 and the remnant of the heathens. And we're going to be saved. Go back to Jerusalem, where we belong. We haven't been there since 70 AD. Okay, so it's going to be a joyous day. You know what I'm saying? And I've been waiting here in limbo and hell for so long that I'm going to be like, all right, geez, the Edomites are dead. What happens now? Because I have seen this coming a long time ago. Okay?
And kings shall be thy nursing fathers.
So now your kings, your Rothschilds, your Anglo-Saxons, your Rockefellers, your Bilderbergs, your so-called royal family with their whack-ass women, dead.
And their queens, thy nursing mothers.
And your queens, right? Your queens will be our nursing mothers, guys.
They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth.
So that's what the Most High is asking of all you so-called white people. What you did to us, the rape, the rob, the murder, the lynching, he's asking y'all to bow down. So you bow down in front of the servants of the Lord? Yeah. Bow down? Yeah. See? Right? Bow down to me, go ahead.
And shit, look up the dust off thy feet.
And the Most High said you're supposed to kiss my boot. Kiss my boot. Kiss the brother's boot too. Yeah. All right. Kiss the brother's boot. Yo, let me out, step up, kiss your boot. One more thing, bro. Matter of fact, kiss my father.
My boots are
all right, nice. Our brother right here too. Brother Daniel. Brother Daniel, one more.
Isaiah 49:22.
All right. Kwam Yashala!
Kwam Yashala! Kwam Yashala! Kwam Yashala!
That's right. What's your name?
My name is Landon.
Your name is Lantern? Landon. And Landon, in the kingdom of heaven, I'll give you a shack that's close to my mansion. All right? All right, Kwam Yashala. Go like this. Kwam Yashala, all right? Kwam Yashala, all right? All praises to the Most High, man.